Welcome! E aí, galera, beleza? Bem-vindo à nossa comunidade.
Welcome to our community.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is OGC here. Today, we're going to take a peek at the Dragonic talents for the dragons, and I think the big thing is we're going to take a look at different types of dragons and what to focus on for the Dragonic. So there's three different tiers. You have Destruction, Protection, and Affliction. Yes, I did say that correctly. Affliction. Each one of these has a bunch of tiers. I think it takes 108 of the thing on the top right up there. The whatever the purple amethyst looking thing is. I think it takes 108 of those or something like that. It's slightly over 100 to get to the last talent, which is Undying Army. Kind of ironic. My first name in Art of Conquest was Undying, so that's kind of cool. Anyways, when it comes to doing any of these, there are some commonalities. So first and foremost, they all have a first skill, which is the energy fuse thing. I think that's oh no, it is different for all of them. Anyways, they all have a first skill which you have to dump points into. What happens is next, you get your first decision, and your first decision looks like, do we focus for a dragon and making your dragon itself more powerful? One which offers some type of buff or debuff to the enemies, and one that directly affects your troops or the enemy's troops. Once we make it to tier 3, each one has a specific tier 3, so you kind of just dump the one into it and go from there. This is going to be a pretty significant portion for your dragon unlocking the tier 3 because it gives it a Dragonic ability. From there, you get a bunch more options. And again, like for the top one for Affliction, reduce the cooldown timers by 0.1 second. This all stacks. So if people have, I forget if it's Magic Swell or Energy Pulse, whatever it is, it all stacks on top of each other, which is super beneficial. So that directly affects the dragon. The middle ones kind of affect that Dragonic ability. For this would be Dragonic Dominion? I don't know. We'll skip over the words. Words are hard for me. So the middle one directly affects that, and then the bottom ones has something to do with troops. I think for okay, so Dragonic is I'm sorry. The Affliction lowers the enemy. If you do Protection, it should raise the health and survivability of your troops, and if you do Destruction, it should increase things like accuracy, crit, and attack. So it breaks it down into 3 different options. You have focus directly on the dragon at the top. In the middle, it is kind of focused on that unique dragon ability, if that makes sense. And on the bottom, it affects your troops. Then we make it to tier 6. Tier 6, this is the one that's the same for all 3 talent trees. This will increase its stats by 10. So effectively, your overall stats when you go into battle by unlocking one tier 6 will increase your stats by a total of 40, 10 in each. It's pretty cool. Then we get back into a whole mess of things where the tops, again, directly affect your dragon. The middle affects whatever the dragon ability is. Sometimes they fluctuate and it's not directly linked to the dragon ability, like the Dragonic Dominion or whatever it's called. And the bottom is all centered around your troops, the enemy troops, things like that. So I think one of the big takeaways is, what do you want to focus on to get to for the last talent first? I think that's a decent way of looking at it. So for Affliction, for this you get the Undying Army, and when it's on the battlefield, the dragon, it allows friendly non-summon units to delay death by 2 seconds. So this right here, this pretty much makes your troops similar to Lich Skeletons, the Dire Skeletons. So that's pretty cool. Your troops will just linger around longer. Ultimately, I think you can't go wrong with the Affliction tree. No matter what, anybody out there could benefit from this. So I guess the real question comes into, when would the other 2 abilities be better? So I'm going to use Affliction as the baseline. Like it's good for everything. Every dragon could benefit from Undying Army and having reduced stuff for their skills. So we'll use this as a baseline to compare it to Destruction and Protection. And then afterwards, I'll kind of do a super generic breakdown for which dragons should focus which first. And I totally understand some people out there might have multiple of these fully maxed out. Those probably aren't the people that watch my videos. So for the sake of this video and the time that this is coming out, we're going to figure out if we had to pick one. When we look at the protection tree, everything is about making your dragon stronger and making your dragon have better survivability. Also, it helps with the healing. The healing benefits from this, I forget, is this a healing? Nope. All right, somewhere in here there is healing stuff. That's healing received. What about, okay, that gains health. All right, somewhere in here, just take my word for it, there's things that increase the healing. That does benefit with Noble Blood, but ultimately the big benefit of Destruction is being able to get the barrier that comes out, so the dragon can kind of protect itself. I think that no matter what, this is a really good 1-point wonder. Even if you aren't planning on going all the way down the protection tree right away, this is great for everyone. I mean, you essentially get 10% more health every 10 seconds. So I mean, that's huge. But ultimately, when you get down to the final ability, at 45 seconds into the battle, or when its health drops below 30%, your dragon, it stuns all enemies and recovers 50% health. The longer the battle has lasted, the longer the stun will be. It ranges from 2 to 6 seconds. So with this, I fought against it once and it was the most annoying thing ever because everything on my battlefield just got totally stunned up and it felt like an eternity and the enemy just ran right through me. So this is going to be annoying once everyone has everything maxed out. So someday, like 10 years from now, everyone will have Affliction, Destruction, and Protection fully maxed out. It's super annoying to fight against this. I think the big benefit of protection and where protection is better than the others is if you have a dragon that you need to keep alive for its effects. Every dragon you want to keep alive, I totally get that. But one, say perhaps it is very weak, and it should probably offer some type of healing ability. So, say an Azul dragon, a blue dragon with Noble Blood, if you have an Azul dragon, it has no casting abilities at all, which is weird because casting abilities is the current meta, then I think protection wins out just because you want to keep it alive for the Noble Blood for as long as possible. I think this will also help out keeping the dragon alive in the void longer, but I don't know. Anyways, the protection I think is right now probably the least powerful out of the three. Simply because of the current meta. However, once you do get this last talent unlocked for it, absolute game changer. I mean, you can get 6 seconds where everything on the battlefield is stunned. I don't know about you guys, that's just ridiculous. I don't care how you cut it. So we will look at one more. This is the Destruction. As you can see, Destruction is what I'm focusing. Destruction is all about increasing the dragon's attack, the dragon's crit. It also has ways in which to just deal a lot more damage with the active abilities from the dragon. So, and of course the tier 6 with the increase the command and everything. And then we get the tier 16 where damage enemies take more damage. All of these things are really, really good. And then you finally make it to the last one, which is Hemorrhage. Hemorrhage is huge. This is part of the reason why, it's not the only reason, it's part of the reason why the Onyx Dragons are just so popular right now and why pretty much all the top players are using active abilities. So not just an Onyx, I've seen some really good Azul Dragons without any purples on them, or very few, maybe Fortitude and the one that increases the attack for ranged troops. But the reason for it is, damaging enemies causes them to bleed, dealing an additional 7% true damage per second for 2 seconds. That's insane. That's 14% health loss. in its true damage. So it can't be reduced. It's just straight up, flat up damage. You guys have heard me say this a million times. Anytime you have really big percent health damage abilities or skills, is probably going to be really powerful, especially in this game as everything keeps scaling up. This is the epitome of that because it's true damage. So it's 7% true damage per second for 2 seconds. So if you have a dragon that has a lot of active abilities or I guess damaging abilities, then this is the way to go. You will want to get Hemorrhage just because it annihilates everything. So what this looks like is topaz dragons that are made for killing heroes, which that's how mine's set up. Once this gets unlocked, guys, I can't wait to just take down all of the enemy heroes and then have my Bazrik, once he's finally leveled up, I'll be able to finish them off. But this also applies for the Onyx Dragon. With the black holes that it puts out, even the external void, like those mini ones that get summoned when the troop dies, I mean, you're still going to do 14% damage. If let's see how good I can do my math off the top of my head. If you have one pack of swordsmen, say Shocker 13, so there's 30 of them, and each one has 200,000 health. One of your little troops dies and it puts out a small eternal void, which hits every troop in there. Every troop in there is going to take 14% of their max health damage. And again, that 200,000 HP, that's before you add on Avalon and Virion and everything else. So we're rounding down. So that's going to be 28,000 damage for each one of them. So, I mean, ultimately, there's 28,000, 280,000 times 3. So that should be like 88 or 880,000 damage just from that one tiny void going down if there's a Shocker 15 pack of swordsmen in it. Let me know in the comments if my math is on point. I could be way off, but it's pretty close to a million damage. I think it's 880,000 damage. True damage. It can't be reduced. And the more health that enemy units have, the more damage this is going to do. So it scales extremely well. Now, Lilith did kind of leak out that there might be a nerf coming out for this. I don't know if it's for the destruction tree itself or if it's just the dragons, but they kind of acknowledge that the dragons are slightly too strong. They are, and they're going to do something about that. What that something is, I have no idea. No, none at all. So anyways, this also works very well for topaz dragons for the hero killing, the onyx dragons with the black holes. If somebody's running a ruby dragon for a bunch of fire damage, that's cool. I've even seen a Azul dragon setup where they do a bunch of like hailstorm and other things, the cosmic storms with the energy pulse and swell and all that fun stuff. Probably the only one that would not benefit from destruction would be the Emerald Dragon. I just think that the Emerald Dragon should probably go with protection or affliction. The reason for affliction on an Emerald Dragon is because you get the reduced cooldown timers. That stacks really well with things like Tranquility. You can see dragons that look like they're just pulsating Tranquility. You can see some wild stuff with dragons. In fact, if you guys want to see more wild stuff with dragons, just go into the dual towers and watch some of the replays. We might not be able to duplicate these, but we might be able to get some inspiration for things that, hey, you know what, I might be able to do this. That looks really cool. I'm going to shoot for that ultimately. So, and again, every single dragon can benefit from affliction. They just can. I mean, the Undying Will, the reduced cooldown timers. So when it comes to the dragons, oops, that's the wrong one. When it comes to the dragons in Dragonic, I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all. Do this for this type of dragon, do that for that type of dragon. There are some general ones. Generally speaking, for Onyx Dragons that's going for pure damage, you will want to focus on destruction. If you're going for a Emerald Dragon, focusing on like Aerial Blast and Resurrection and Tranquility, you might want to go for protection along with reducing the cooldown timers for their skills. This actually gives us a lot of freedom to try out different things with dragons. I know right now the Onyx ones, that's the meta, that's what everyone does. However, I think things will change as people can explore more options with dragons. Personally, I do kind of think the Onyx is absolutely broken, but I think things will change as people can experiment more. Anyways, now I'm starting to ramble. That's when we should probably cut the video. So before you go, thank you for sticking around. Please take a moment to smash the thumbs up button, subscribe if you have not subscribed already. In the description of this video, there's a bunch of useful information like our Patreon page. These videos are brought to you guys specifically by the Patreons on our Patreon page. They are everything. Also, there is merch store down there, which my mom frequents often. She wants some company. Also, our OGC community Discord that has a ton of members in it. That's also down there. So take care, guys, and until tomorrow, I will see you guys later.